This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
There he is. All right. How you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
Always feeling good, always feeling good. How are you?
9-0. I mean, with the Dolphins sucking ass, I need, I need my Panthers. I need Inter and the Canes, bro. 9-0. So that's it's really cool. I know. Listen, I know it's not a perfect team, but the progress that has been made has been outstanding this year, and they're winning their games, and I'm loving that. And these are games that sometimes they would have lost, and they would have never been 9-0 in years past. So I am having some fun, and I know in the big picture that this is not a dominant Canes team. We're not going to put this anywhere near some of the great Canes teams that we've seen in years past and all that kind of stuff. But I'm super, super happy for Mario and super happy for the progress that's being made. And that's really all that matters right now.
Yeah, you think about what we were talking about in the preseason, right? It was like, well, maybe they'll go, 11-1, 10-2. Maybe they'll win the ACC championship. If they get there, that's good enough. Now you're sitting there watching this team and watching the season play out, and you're saying, hey, man, they better win the ACC championship, right? Your expectations for them have changed. And I think, there's a chance. I mean, this offense is really special. Oh, I went and I did my analytical breakdown of the last 6 teams to play in the national championship. In terms of just the last 3 years, the teams that made it. And Miami is on par with all 6 of those teams in terms of what they're doing offensively. And then in terms of defensively, they're actually ahead of the curve, even as bad as the defense has looked at times with some of the teams that played in the national championship game the last couple of seasons, the TCUs who made it to the championship, Washington who made it to the championship. So this is a team I think that can play for a championship. I don't know if they can win it, but certainly a team that I think is explosive enough to make a playoff run and be in the conversation.
Well, let's hope so, man. Injury-wise, how did they come out of this game?
Well, they lost Jadis Richard, which is one of their starting cornerbacks, a kid who started the last 6 games, was kind of coming off the bench early in the season and getting a lot of playing time, but now he was a starter. He's your biggest physical corner in terms of size, and Mario said yesterday that he's hoping that Damari Brown will be back. I told you guys weeks ago that I wasn't necessarily optimistic, but maybe break a glass in case of emergency. You never know. Maybe he comes back and isn't 100%, but he plays in some capacity to try to help out this pass defense in the postseason. And that's why depth is so important. That's why you got to have guys available because, again, we're in the 9th game of the season. We've been through 9. We're on to the 10th game. Guys are going to start going down, and you got to have depth to survive that. And that's why the SEC and the Big Ten teams are still going to be the best teams in terms of winning championships because they're just deeper. They've got more guys. And Mario is just getting to that now in his 3rd year where he's stacking great recruiting classes on top of one another.
Right. Now is when he has the start, the beginnings of a 22. In years 4 and 5 is where he will then stack the 44, right. Overall, because obviously young guys will get elevated and then the next recruiting classes will come in. And then all of a sudden, remember, we talked about this, that once you get to that 5th year cycle, now you've had guys that have been in your system for 4 or 5 years, and now they're teaching the kids that are the freshmen and the sophomores. Right. When you have that cycle, that's when you've hit it. And technically, this is really his 1st year, even though it's his 3rd, but he really spent the first 2 years kind of cleaning house is the way it looks now. And so really it's going to take him a couple of years to get to that SEC level where you have that depth that the next guy that's coming off the bench is like they used to have. Right. It was like a badass that would come off the bench, and we're like, oh, my God, they got to start some guy named Bernard Tiger Clark. Right. Who the hell is that guy? And all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? So these are the things that has to happen for Miami that they used to have all the time when they had McGahee and Jackson and Willis, right? I think they were all like in the same
Jordan
back at
Willis,
one
yep.
point. You
Yeah.
know, that's the kind of shit that and they have that now at running back, by the way. But
Right.
like in all positions, they used to be like that. And that's how Georgia is and all these other teams. We got to give Mario some time for that, bro. We got to understand that right now. We have to give that's the part where we have to now give him a break because we're watching the progress being made now. Now
Right.
we know that the method behind the madness is working.
Yeah, and really, ultimately, here we're in a different era because of the transfer portal. So you have to be vigilant in both fronts because you're going to lose guys year to year to year that you recruit. There may be a first or second year kid who says, "Look, man, I don't want to wait anymore. I want to go to another school and play because I want to get to the NFL in 3 years, and I don't want to wait anymore." So that's why recruiting matters. That's why people say, "Oh, just it's all about the transfer portal now." No, it's not. It really isn't. You have to be able to replenish every single year with an elite high school recruiting class because you don't know who's going to get up and say, I'm not waiting anymore. I want to go somewhere else. That's what happens at Ohio State and Alabama and Georgia and other places. Those guys leave and they go and become stars somewhere else because they don't want to sit and be the second guy. So that's why recruiting is so important. And Mario, like you said, he's just getting there at certain position. I think cornerback and safety starting to trend towards building depth, but that's in the next recruiting class. That's in the next one that they're going to sign. So, wide receiver, I think, is another one, right? You got to replace Xavier Restrepo next year. You got to replace most likely Zay Horton or some other guys that are older on this roster, Jacoby George. That next unit, you have to replenish that to see who else leaves in the offseason. Will guys take off via free agency as we call it now in college football. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but he's building a program, and that's ultimately what Miami's administration wanted. They wanted a program builder, and that's what Mario Cristobal is.
Yeah, no, there's no. I mean, that's we knew that he could do that. He can recruit and he can build. It's just a matter of getting it fixed on game day, and that's exactly what they're doing. What's the challenges this week against Georgia Tech?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if their quarterback Haynes King, comes back or not from that shoulder injury. I haven't sort of checked up on what the latest is with that. I know that he's missed a couple of games because of the throwing shoulder injury. But Georgia Tech's a good team. They're 5-4, play a tough schedule. They got Georgia at the end of the season, and Brent Key is a good coach. I think he does a good job considering some of the limitations they have in terms of who they can bring into that school because of academics and everything else. And so. Look, this is the same team that ruined Miami's season last year, right? With the fake fumble at the end of Don Chaney Jr. and then the touchdown at the end of the game. And so Miami's highly motivated to win this one. Noon kickoff in Atlanta. I can tell you, being in Atlanta several times to go watch that game in person, not a lot of atmosphere at that place. You're in downtown Atlanta, and there's Georgia. You can see Georgia Bulldogs sign from the stadium outside on billboards and stuff. So they're not as passionate about Georgia Tech as they are the Bulldogs in that state. But
that's the
nevertheless,
that's the redheaded stepchild there, bro.
yes.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, a team that can beat Miami if Miami screws around and plays a bad game.
Yeah. I don't see. That's where I don't expect that. I don't expect that anymore. Not with Cam Ward leading you,
right?
Because Cam Ward inspires all, not just your offense. Your defense knows, dude, if we get this stop, he's going to win it for us. So we've got to get this stop. So if they're in that position, and we know the defense isn't great, but they'll find something deep down inside, because that's what happens when you have a true leader on your football team. People rise to the occasion, and that's something that I've seen with this team, that they've put themselves in some positions that are pretty shady towards the end, but they find a way to overcome. And when you do this that often, I think it's because of that dude, bro. I really do. I think it's because of that dude.
Yeah, without question, Cam Ward is the difference maker and a special quarterback, and that's why you have a chance to go on a run here. That's the only reason why Miami has a chance to do something special this year. I mean, Otherwise, they would be another team that you look at and say, okay, maybe they can win the conference title. When you have a special quarterback, you feel much better about your chances. Especially as you're building towards becoming that elite program again. He can make all the difference in taking you places regular guys can't. So look, they've had 3 second half comebacks so far this season. They came back from big down at Cal. They came back from against Virginia Tech when they were down to win that game. Then this past Saturday, 28-17 in the third quarter, came back and won that game. So as long as you've got one out there, you have a chance to win every single game that you're in, because he's going to make plays. He's going to make passes. He's going to take off and run on 3rd and 17 and get you 20 yards. He can do a lot of different things to erase your issues. So I think as long as he's upright and healthy, this team can win any game it plays in.
Heisman, what do you think?
I've been telling you from the beginning.
Championship game, can he get the Heisman with that? Will that be something that could put him over the top?
Well, remember, they vote on the Heisman. I think the last date is the early December weekend, right? And then they award it the following weekend. So I think if they win the conference
championship game is in by then, right? It's not the bowl game.
If they win the ACC championship, his biggest competition in my mind is Travis Hunter, who I told you in the beginning of the season was going to win it, right? I told you that. I said that was the guy. The whole Shohei Ohtani factor. Everybody loves the two-way player. Right now, Colorado has a chance, dude.
He is special, bro.
Oh, dude, yeah.
I mean, if anybody says Travis Hunter doesn't deserve it, have you ever watched football in your life? Do you know how difficult it is doing?
Yeah,
bro, for sure.
Listen, Colorado has a chance to win the Big 12. Now that we've seen a couple of upsets, you saw Iowa State lose last week. You saw Kansas State lose. So the door has opened for Colorado to reach the Big 12 championship game if it can win out and get the tiebreaker it needs. So I think if Colorado gets to the conference championship game, my guess is Travis Hunter wins the Heisman and Cam Ward finishes second. But if Colorado slips down the stretch, then I think it opens the door to Cam. I just think it comes down to that. I think that's the way voters think when it comes to this stuff.
But how does Colorado have a chance? All the pundits were saying that Colorado was going to suck and it was going to implode and that Dion is overrated and all that. Bro, that's all I heard, Manny.
Yeah, well, listen, the guy has done a phenomenal job. First of all, his son is an incredible quarterback. And just like Cam Ward, he can make a lot of things, a lot of problems disappear. But look, they got to win at Texas Tech this week. That's not an easy game. Texas Tech just won at Iowa State, can score points. So, I mean, they've got challenges down the stretch, but I think they're in position, dude. They have a chance to get there.
Yeah, dude. I mean, they're already way better than they were last year. So that's all he needed to do is make improvements, and he's making improvements every year overall. Now, next year will be a challenge for him because the loss of Shador. Oh my God.
Yeah,
that's huge. That's, I'm talking about Cam Ward. It's the same thing. That dude is special and a half.
Absolutely.
So that guy is as NFL as it gets. Shador Sanders. Wow, he is perfect, dude. All right, what do you got going on in the athletics so folks can check you out, my friend?
Well, I can read my oddly specific predictions that'll be coming out on Thursday. Read our ACC power rankings. I'm working on a bunch of different projects. I'm going to have some stories on the quarterback and maybe who the next Cam Ward might be for Miami if they go out into the transfer portal, find somebody else. So there'll be plenty to read over at theathletic.com, including my column from this past weekend about how Miami made the right decision in upgrading their head coach. Wasn't pretty at the time when they kicked Manny Diaz out the door as he was trying to help them win games and going 5-6. But in the end, I think Miami fans can all agree you upgraded.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt you upgraded, dude. And you got yourself a lifer. Because if he is successful, and I hope he is, that's the one thing, dude. He's not going anywhere. He's not using this as a stepping stone like so many others have used as a stepping stone. This is not. This is where he wants to be, and that's pretty cool, man. They've never had a coach. Well, I think Mark Richt wanted to end it here, but he was already at the back end of his career, and maybe Manny stays here for a long time. Maybe he does if he was successful, but Mario for sure.
I think Manny is the perfect fit at Duke. I could see him being a guy who wins a lot of games at Duke and keeps them in bowl eligibility every year, goes 8-4, 9-3, because he's a good defensive coach, and he has zero expectations on him there. There's zero expectations there at Duke to win. It's the perfect job for him. Kind of like Mark Stoops at Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. He doesn't have to win. He's at a basketball school.
Yeah, but he's done a marvelous job there with that football program.
Yep.
They're actually respectable now as a football program. That we never respected Kentucky football. I think now we have respect for Kentucky football. Now when you go play Kentucky, it's not like, hey, dude, it's bye week this week. We're playing Kentucky. It's homecoming week or something. No, it's not like that anymore, Kentucky. They'll surprise your ass, dude.
Oh, yeah. Ask Georgia. Ask Georgia what it was like in Tennessee this past weekend. Those were tight games.
Yeah. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro and catch his work there at The Athletic. Better yet, subscribe. Manny, as always, appreciate you, my brother. We'll catch up on Friday.
All right, brother. Talk soon.
You got it. There you go. The great Manny Navarro. And remember, at Caneswear, you can get anything and everything practically with the Canes logo on it. And they've got heat gear. Heat season's going on. Inter Miami are in the playoffs. Get your playoff gear, man, for Saturday. For the game against Atlanta, Dolphins gear. There you go. Let's go, man. We got it all for you. Panthers, they still have championship gear there too. And you can get any new gear for the new season. The Panthers are kicking ass. I think they're like 9-3-1. Amazing record. They're back in action on Thursday. So go to Caneswear, 2655 South University Drive in Davie. Tell them that Big O sent you. Remember, if you order online over $99, you'll get free shipping. But use our code BIGO10. You will get 10% off at Caneswear.com.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.